So hello again, everyone. Welcome to Design Your Major workshop. We hope you are all staying well and safe during this season. And before we kick off with a round of introductions, please feel free to add pronouns to your name. And just a reminder, please stay on mute if you aren't talking. So we are the Lfs 18 Workshop Committee. My name is Clarice. I'm a third year full nutrition and health student. So I remember when I was back in my first and second year, I was really confused about what major to choose. And I don't know what I want to do after completing my program. So later on, I found it really helpful to visit the student office and clarify my questions about my major so I can plan my degree ahead. Also, I learned more about different academic options and opportunities through talking and connecting with my peers. So as time goes by, I gradually realized my passion and also consolidated my career goal. So I just want to reassure you that it takes time and efforts for you to figure out things. And I'm glad that all of you took this opportunity today to join our workshop and learn more about the majors, programs, and opportunities within our faculty. So hopefully you will be better prepared to design your major through attending today's workshop.
Hi everyone, my name is Rosemary. I'm a third year Nutritional Sciences student. You may have seen me last week in the Discover Your Major event as I was the Nutritional Sciences rep. Thank you for coming to our workshop, and you will hear more from me in the second half.
Thank you, Rosemary. Also on this call is Ella, our staff advisor in Lfs Student Services, and our team leads, Valerie and Tiffany, who will also present in our workshop and stay for the Q&A session for your questions. So we'd like to begin with a land acknowledgement. UBC's Vancouver Point Grey campus is situated on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Musqueam people. We'd also like to acknowledge that you're joining us today from many places, near and far, acknowledge the traditional owners and caretakers of those lands. So we have received the following questions from the registration survey. And most of you are wondering about career paths for each major, how to build a strong profile for job opportunities, summer classes, and some specific questions about applied biology program. These are all great questions, and we'll go through all of them through today's workshop. In the meantime, you can post your questions anytime using the Slido and upvote some of the questions. So note that all the questions are anonymous, so we won't see who asking which questions. So we'll be posting the Slido link into the chat, and we will address all the questions during the Q&A session near the end. So now Ella will walk us through the agenda for today.
Thank you so much, Cloris, and hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm glad to see you here to learn more about your options within the Faculty of Land and Food Systems and about how you can take advantage of those options to build a degree that's really designed for exactly what you're looking for. Over the next hour or so, we've got some time set aside to talk about highlights of the different programs and majors offered within the Faculty of Land and Food Systems. Then we're going to talk about some options that go along with that. So ways that you can accessorize your major, so adding in other opportunities and experiences to really customize your degree in a way that's going to meet your interests and your desires from your experience here. And then we'll spend some time working through some interactive activities. We're calling them Design Your Major today. They're based on the idea of Design Your Life, a workshop that's offered by the Center for Student Involvement and Careers that helps you think about what's important to you, what matters to you, and what you're hoping to gain from your experiences. Hopefully these reflections will have you coming out of today's workshop with a better idea of what your priorities are in your education, what you're looking forward to getting involved with, and where you can go to find more information. Of course, we know you have many questions today, so we'll spend some time on questions and answers throughout the workshop and then especially at the end as well. So please, as things come up, don't be afraid to add them to the Slido using the ACE-DYM event code.
Thank you so much, Ella. So as we are navigating about different FAST majors, programs, and opportunities, we have created this visual map here to show you the extensive amount of opportunities that are available in LFS. So as you can see in the map here, in the center, we have the 4 programs within LFS, and the green circles surrounding it are the respective majors under each program. So those ones with the yellow dots are the competitive majors. So these ones do require an application to get into those programs. And the gray circle here are the minor options you can take on in your degree. And lastly, in the light green background here are all the amazing opportunities you can get involved with your faculty and beyond LFS. So I hope this visual map helps you to get a better and a bigger picture of the resources and opportunities within our faculty. Now, before we dive into majors and programs, here's a checking activity for us to know how confident are you knowing which major to choose. So you can take a minute now and annotate. So to annotate, you can click on the view options on the top of your Zoom window and click annotate. So I can see 2 of you are already annotating. So yeah, feel free to position yourself on the diagram. So I can see a few of you are mainly on the left, and there's one of you is very confident. That's a great thing. So I can see most of you are on the left-hand side. Well, I just want to reassure you that feeling stuck or confused in your first and second years is completely normal. I still remember when I was in my first year, I listed all the FN majors I was interested in my head. So this includes dietetics, nutritional science, food science, and double major. However, I didn't have an idea about what are the differences between those majors. But the only thing I know is that I'm really interested in nutrition and I hope to learn more about it. And later on, I found the FA in general can provide you with the foundation courses for different specializations. So I decided to stay in FA in general. So some things are really not very clear to me, even though in my second year. So I just want to reassure you all again, acknowledge yourself taking this time today to navigate your journey in LFS. So I hope you get a better idea of what you want and where to start by the end of today's workshop. So, okay, great. So without further ado, we're moving on to the highlights of LFS majors and programs. So we're going to talk about different key points for each LFS major and things for you to consider before applying. To help you get a better picture of the different components in your journey at LFS, we will now use a tree analogy, as you can see in the image in the slide. So imagine your journey in LFS begin as a new living tree in a garden. So your major will be your roots that can nourish and support you to grow. So likewise, in the major, you can learn the fundamental knowledge in your interested area, and eventually you will become an expert in your field. As time goes by, you explore and take on those additional experiences, including minors, co-op, or exchange. You will develop more skills that strengthen your academic profile. So those add-on opportunities can really, just like the branches and leaves of the tree, that allow you to grow bigger and stronger. So it is important for you to discover both academic and other opportunities available, because they can help you to grow and become a better self on a personal and professional level. So before we start, just a reminder that there will be a lot of information covered for each major. And don't worry about copying all this information down, because most of the details you will find in the resource sheet. So the resource sheet will be in our feedback survey when you are discovered later on in our workshop. So all you need to do is to listen and follow along, jot down your question in the Slido, and yeah, we'll get started. So now I'm passing on to Tiff, who is going to talk about her applied animal biology major.
Thank you, Cloris. Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you for coming. Cloris briefly introduced me in the beginning, but again, my name is Tiffany and I'm currently in my third year of applied animal biology. And I'll get us started with the applied biology stream. So this stream features two majors, the applied animal biology program, as well as the sustainable agriculture and environment program. You can see that there's two other ones. However, those two programs are no longer accepting students. So you may see the two on some LFS websites, but those just haven't been updated. So please be aware of that. Moving on to the next slide. So for applied animal biology, this major is intended to provide you with fundamental knowledge on animal behavior and roles of animals in society. But as you can see, the third and fourth year schedule is very flexible. They're all restricted and unrestricted electives. So this provides you with like a lot of opportunity to just customize your courses to fit your personal, academic, or professional interests. So the interesting thing about this is you don't really actually have to take any animal-based courses in this major. I've decided not to anymore as my interest kind of shifted, and being in this major is perfect because it allows me to do so. So if you're considering this major, I would consider consulting student services early on to plan your upper year courses ahead of time because some courses do require specific lower level prerequisites and student services can help you with that. So with this flexibility comes another big highlight that it can prepare you for with the proper course selection, it can prepare you for the necessary research skills for graduate work. So veterinary or human medicine. A lot of my friends are pre-vet students, but a lot of them are also doing dentistry or pharmacy after their applied animal biology program. So it's very flexible. And moving on, it's a non-competitive major, so no additional applications needed, and there's a wide range of career paths such as veterinary, human medicine, ecological conservation, and working with animals to support their welfare. Here you can see a tip from Megan Lowe. She's your applied animal biology representative. So I totally agree with her. We are a very small but welcoming community. And a lot of us folks have pets, so you know we're all pretty friendly. Yeah, so if you're interested in this and want a more flexible major, I would highly recommend this. And I'll pass it back to Cloris for the second part of the applied biology stream.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Tiff. So moving on to the sustainable agriculture and environment. In this major, you will mainly explore the application of soil, plant agroecological sciences, and learn more about sustainable food production. A big highlight is that current students can become eligible to be a student member of the British Columbia Institute of Agroecologists. And through completion of this degree and with careful course selection, you will be working towards fulfilling those requirements needed to apply for professional designation, as three of all of them show below. So you will be mainly having flexible third and fourth years that you can plan certain restricted electives ahead to pursue your desired designation. So this is also a non-competitive major with honors program available. So for the applied biology resources, Megan, our applied biology representative, recommends Applied Bio 496. This is a practicum that allows you to work with organizations supporting animal welfare in BC. You can also check out the Lfs Undergraduate Society website to get more involved with your faculty. And know that this is not just for applied biology students and open for everyone. She also recommends some animal-related clubs in UBC, such as UBC PAL and Wildlife Society Club. And you will also find some research opportunities in the UBC Dairy Education and Research Center. So for the sustainable agriculture and environment, you will have many opportunities to work and do research in UBC farm, and they currently have many work-learn opportunities posted in Careers Online. So do check out, and later on Rosemary will show you how you can access those opportunities. So for those of you who are really interested in applied biology, well, we don't want to miss this exciting workshop coming up on March 25th. So in this workshop, it will be hosted by Applied Biology Program Assistant, and you will learn more about options, including minors, co-op, honors, exchange, mainly in applied biology. So you will also have a chance to engage with the faculty members and learn more from the current students who take advantage of these opportunities in their degree. So yeah, do check it out. We will post a link into the chat for you to learn more. So now we're moving on to the last stream in our LFS, food, nutrition, and health. It is, so we'll start from the FNH. Oh, sorry, I forgot to say that for this year, we have food market analysis, which is no longer accepting any new students, but in place of that, food resource economics or FRE is a recommended option if you're interested in food market analysis. So let's start with the FNH major. It is a non-competitive major with a flexible upper year curriculum. So in your third and fourth year, you can learn a bit from nutritional science, food science, and you can also take classes from other faculties as well to explore your interest. So it really has the flexibility for you to customize your degree. So as for me, I'm currently a third year food nutrition and health student. I think my major really builds a foundation for me to pursue a competitive major such as dietetics. So I can still remember back in when I first started in FH General, I found my interest in dietetics when I first started to volunteer with a dietitian in a hospital. I learned how dietitians can better support the health and well-being of others, and I was super fascinated by that. And I also found myself working with others and supporting others. What's more, I also very passionate about nutrition, so I decided to stay in FN General and take this prerequisites and require courses for dietetics. In addition, FNH curriculum offers great flexibility, so I can partially follow the dietetics curriculum in my third year. So if I consider applying for some competitive majors, you can make the core course requirements within FNH major, especially in your first and second years. Another big highlight is that you can pursue a double major combining your FNH degree with the Bachelor of Education. So this will be a 5-year double degree program, and you can finish it with a professional teaching certificate in BC. So now I'm passing on to Valerie, who is going to share with us her insights and advice for those of you who are interested in dietetics.
Thanks, Chloris. So as introduced before, and I'm a third-year dietetics student. Before entering dietetics, I actually spent 3 academic years in the FNH general major. So feel free to ask me any questions if you do later. So now I'll just be sharing a little bit about dietetics. And as you may already know, it's a very competitive program with about 40 students admitted each year. And the application to this program consists of 3 parts. One being your academic performance, the second one being an application package that's due in late January, and an interview in late April if you're offered one. And it's a 3rd year entry into the program, including 2 academic years, followed by a 10-month practicum in your 5th year. And with that, you're working at a healthcare facility within BC. So a key point to consider is that you'll learn a bit of everything within dietetics, ranging from nutrition, biological sciences, food theory, business management, as well as chemistry. And so for those who are considering dietetics, I think the biggest tip is to really gain relevant knowledge and exposure to the field of dietetics through volunteering, job shadowing dietitians, or just professional experience that you're able to get from your own communities. And this will help you confirm your fit and motivation to work in this field as a registered dietitian. And I do want to point out that while the focus of this major prepares you for the accreditation to become a registered dietitian in BC, a lot of graduates of this program go on to pursue grad school in human nutrition, nutrition communication, or health administration to become experts or professors in dietetics, but also like to do with media spokesperson or to work in management positions within dietetics. And due to the specific requirements of this program, there is a limited capacity to pursue options like co-op, which you won't be able to do during the program. But this was something that I was able to do before going into dietetics. And Ella would be a really great resource to go to for questions about minors, as well as exchange options while completing this major. And as one of the UBC dietetic reps this year, I highly recommend those who are considering dietetics to check out the student community Facebook page for networking events with current dietetic students as well as dietitians. And a great way to find volunteer opportunities is to subscribe to the FNH volunteer listserv to be informed of relevant opportunities that you can sign up for. And again, if you have more questions, feel free to reach out to myself here on Zoom, on Slido, or you can check out the student community on Facebook as well as Instagram. So now I'll pass it back to Cloris.
Thank you so much, Bob. So now we're moving on to another competitive major, food science. So it is a major that integrates food microbiology, chemistry, and engineering. The admission to the food science requires two components, so they will access your academic performance and your letter of intent. So in order to apply for the food science, you can meet a certain number of credits within your first and second years. And do note that the application will be quite soon, so it's gonna be on March 31st this year. So within the food science major, you are able to gain some hands-on experience through many upper level food lab courses, including FNH 325, 326, and 425. So if you're really interested in doing labs and also have a strong curiosity to learn more about the science behind the food, well, food science can be a great option for you. Alumni graduates from the food science tend to work in all sectors related to food, including research, product development, food safety and processing, quality control, food marketing, and many more. And this major also allows co-op, which is a very popular option because many local food companies, including Deya, Vega, and Nature's Path, do hire many food science students each year for the co-op intern. So now we'll have Rosemary to share more about her nutritional science major.
Thank you, Cloris. So nutritional sciences is a do you mind the next slide? Okay, so nutritional science is a non-competitive major that allows you to explore nutrition in relation to human health and disease. A highlight of this program, according to UBC's undergraduate programs and admissions page, is that it is the only science-based nutrition program in BC. So that means for most nutrition programs outside of UBC, you don't get a Bachelor of Science degree. In this case, similar to other LFS majors, you will build a foundation in first and second year through core science classes and will get a Bachelor of Science degree. A few examples of third year courses I've taken are FNH 370, where we learned about nutrition assessment for individuals and populations, Microbio 202, where we learned about the immune system, viruses, and bacterial disease, and FNH 398, where we analyzed research methods, for example, what cohort or case control studies are, and also how to interpret the data. You can then further explore your interests in, for example, population and public health or international nutrition, as there is some room for electives in fourth year. Career-wise, some examples are a health policy research analyst, food service supervisor, and nutrition and fitness consultant. You can also pursue further education in graduate programs to do a master's or PhD, or go into health professions such as nursing, medicine, pharmacy, and veterinary medicine. If you are interested in what the current research in nutrition is at UBC, check out the Human Nutrition Group website, and the link is posted in the chat. And I'll pass it back to Cloris.
Thank you so much, Rosemary. So if you're a little bit hesitant, if you're interested in both food science and nutritional science, and you want to learn the best from both worlds, well, food and nutritional science double major can be a great option. So it is a competitive major with 5 years of education, and in your application, they will access your academic performance and letter of intent. The deadline will be March 31st. So just to show you the structured curriculum of the food and nutritional science double major. So if you're interested in applying, consider gaining some experience in food and nutrition through personal, volunteer, or professional experience. The food and nutritional science double major can prepare you for some graduate studies, or you can pursue a career in all sectors related to food, nutrition, health research, or other related industries. So we're now moving on to a different LFS program, Global Resource System, GRS. So if you're interested in natural and agricultural resources from an international perspective, well, GRS can really provide you with the knowledge you want to learn. So it can tailor your own degree around a specific region of the world as you combine with your resource of the interest. So for example, you may focus on nutrition and crop science in Asia Pacific region in your GRS degree. And this program will be second-year entry. So just to show you the course schedule again, it looks, as you can see, it looks very different from all other FAST majors. So GRS students can have a chance to join the global program or the work-based learning to study or work in a region of their interest for at least 3 months. So as is shown as the international experience in the curriculum, but you may wonder why it is a 0 credit, but it seems to be a required component for the GRS students. So I thought it would be a really cool highlight for those of you who want to join GRS. The program requires a letter of intent in the application. So as suggested by our GRS student rep, Kenny, he recommends prospective and current GRS students to practice a systems thinking and interdisciplinary approach in every step of your education. So GRS alumni tend to work in many international organizations, including UNICEF and WHO, and some local communities to manage food and natural resources. So if you hope to learn more about the GRS and access its resources, we have listed the course list, and the GRS also have their dedicated GRS website, which features current students, news, and many events. And if you do consider applying, we strongly recommend you to consult with Roxana, our current GRS coordinator. So you can reach out to her by email. And she's also happy to help you understand how your interests fit within the program structure. So now we're moving on to the last LFS program, Food and Resource Economics. So in this major, you will mainly learn more about the economics and management of the food supply chain and food production. So you can specialize in one of the following 3 topic areas or mix and match. And take note of that for the last food and resource management topic, you will be also taking commerce classes in your upper year related to finance and data analytics. In terms of the curriculum, you will mostly follow the core LFS courses combined with the FRE courses. And depending on your specialized topic, you will also have some economic classes or commerce classes in your upper year. So it is a second-year entry program, and you will be required to take some math and econ classes during your first year. So students who are finishing with their FRE degree can be well prepared to pursue their UBC Master of Food and Resource Economics or other applied economics graduate studies. And alumni for FREs, so alumni who are graduating with the FRE degree tend to pursue career in agribusiness, natural resource management, and data analytics. So if you have specific FRE related questions, either about application or just the general program questions, you are welcome to email the current program director, or you can learn more about FRE degree in the Lfs website. So lastly, we'll finish off with a summary table listing all the Lfs programs majors with a co-op honors and typical duration of the program. But do not worry, you have to take a screenshot right now. We'll have this table as part of our resource sheet. So now I'm passing on to Rosemary, who will continue with the second half.
Thank you, Cloris, for summarizing all the majors in LFS. So now it's time to consider enhancing your student experience beyond academics by accessorizing your major. So thinking back to the tree analogy that Cloris introduced earlier, the tree has now grown bigger and stronger, representing our extracurriculars are the fruit that has grown. So fruits provide a lot of nutrients, just like how getting involved provides a lot of experiences. So getting involved in the student community opens doors to many things like making new friends, networking, building on skills such as leadership and collaboration. On top of that, accessorizing your major can be a great way to leverage yourself when applying for competitive major programs. So now I will be showing you some of the opportunities that are out there. So maybe some of you are already familiar with the opportunities to accessorize your major, but don't worry if you aren't as familiar, because we will be exploring them right now. If that sounds good, can you give me all a thumbs up? Okay, so let's get started. And just as a side note, more opportunities are listed in the resource sheet that will be in the feedback survey. So this is the LFS Student Services main page, and I will scroll down to the Getting Involved and Career Prep session. I would like to highlight here that if you have any questions about opportunities for student involvement you can contact the Lini, our student engagement officer. For questions about career paths, you can book an advising appointment with our career strategist, Rob. So now let's see the many ways that you can make the most out of your LFS and UBC experience. So if I click on this link, it will redirect me to here. So here are three main highlights to getting connected. There's the LFS mentorship, LFS ACE team, and career advising. There's also a collection of links for workplace experience, and I would like to highlight here the Work Learn program. So the applications on the Careers Online website are open from March 8th to March 28th. And if you're wondering what Work Learn is, it's an opportunity to provide students with meaningful work experiences. For undergrad students, you can participate in the Work Learn program as long as you have been registered in the previous term. So this winter, term 2, or if you're registered in summer courses. So in the summer term, they're usually 20 hours per week, a maximum and total of 300 hours. If you have any questions on WorkLearn, feel free to post them in the Slido, as my teammates on this call have experienced WorkLearn. And just for familiarity, I'll show you what it looks like on Careers Online. So now I'm on the Careers Online page, and here are the many WorkLearn opportunities that you can check out. So if you click on the Opportunities tab, there's the WorkLearn tab here, and there's a handful of research or project assistant roles for those who are looking for experience in research. And also, because we are on this page already, I'll just briefly show you where you can book career advising appointments. So if you click here on advising appointment, it will redirect you to here. And under the advising tab, there are different types that you can choose depending on which topic you would like to talk about. And there's the date, the time that you can set, and the advisor that you would like to talk to. Okay, so back to this website. For those interested in research experience, as noted earlier, there are WorkLearn jobs related to research. So you may look into this. Also, MERC is a research conference, and it is actually a few days from now. The live conference is from March 20th to 21st, and the recorded programming is available on Canvas from March 22nd to March 28th. And there's leadership experience. So one highlight is the peer programs, and LFS ACE is one of the many teams under this big umbrella. For me, being an ACE has been an amazing and fulfilling experience, as I have met, worked, and have been guided by these wonderful teammates and staff. And I also saw myself grow professionally in areas like managing projects and collaborating virtually. So I highly recommend applying within peer programs, and for LFS ACE, applications open April 1st. And if you hear that, there's construction going on, so I apologize. And one last thing, just a quick note, maybe you've seen this in the newsletters, but check out the Lfs Undergrad Calendar to stay updated. So you can access that under the undergraduate tab. Okay, so now I'm on the LFS homepage. One last highlight I would like to show you is Meet the Community. So I'm just going to scroll down there, and Meet the Community includes featured profiles of alumni, current students, and faculty. If you look into their profiles, you can read about their experience in LFS and learn more about how their degree has impacted them, which may help you with deciding which major to pursue. So when you click here, it will redirect you to this page, and you can see there are many friendly faces. And to give an example of what a full profile looks like, this is Val's featured profile. So I'll just click on her tab, and she speaks about her extracurricular and student leadership experience. For example, here she talks about her involvement in LFS US, which has transformed her interpersonal and communication skills, and the LFS mentorship program, which has helped her navigate what she would like to do after her degree. So these are all the resources I wish to share with you today, and I will just go back to the presentation. I really hope you'll take the time to explore more of what interests you. But just a reminder, thinking again back to this tree analogy, a tree optimizes the number of fruits that it bears so that it will it can continue to grow without being weighed down too much. So when you take on the optimal amount of commitments that work for you, you can then dedicate your time and energy on everything that you are doing. So academically, you can continue to perform well because you have enough time to study and to do homework. And in regards to work, volunteer, or leadership resources, you are also able to effectively develop those important soft skills because you are able to fully participate. You'll also have time for those that matter most to you, so your family and friends. You may have also heard about this many times, but burnout is very common when we feel overwhelmed. So let's keep in mind our health and well-being too. From my experience, I found it very helpful to gradually take on commitments, as this helped me dedicate and manage my time and energy. So from all the information we just presented to you, we hope that now you have a better understanding of what is out there. For this segment, we will now do some reflection activities to process this information. And I highly recommend reflection because it helps us take a pause and learn more a bit about ourselves. So these activities were inspired by the Design Your Life workshop from the Center of Student Involvement and Careers. And that workshop was in turn inspired by the book Designing Your Life by Bill Burnett and Dave Evans. So for this first activity, we're going to take 2 minutes using pen and paper. So this activity is actually kind of like a VSI table, which stands for values, skills, and interests. That maybe you've done in LFS 100 or heard about them from Rob. So ask yourself, what are my interests? What makes me feel excited? What experiences or courses have I enjoyed so far? What do I hope to become in my future career? So I will give you 2 minutes starting now. If you are finished earlier than 2 minutes, just react with a thumbs up so I know that we can move on. And I'll also put some background music in the meantime. Okay, so 2 minutes have passed. I hope you were able to jot down some things about yourself. And now for this next activity, try to relate that to your major that you would like. So write down why you would like to pursue your major and relevance to your values, courses of interest, and future career. Then rate your choice on a scale of 1 to 10 according to, do I like it? Am I confident about this decision? Does it make sense? And before you start, I'll share a personal example, thinking back to my first year self when I was deciding my major. So these were my thoughts. I'm really interested in how food affects our health. The primary reason due to my family history of diabetes and colorectal cancer. I've been fascinated by the microbiome, how it has a link to allergies, and the brain gut axis, like how our emotions can affect our gut health. And I was also really interested how there was a lot of new research about these topics that were coming up. A second point is throughout elementary and high school, I enjoyed taking science classes, so biology, chemistry, and physics. Career-wise, at that time, I was thinking of pursuing a career in medicine to become a medical doctor. So just a reminder, I said that I was thinking back to my first year self. For me, I've had more time to reflect due to the current situation and networked a bit. And I realized that there were other paths that I could pursue, not just medicine with my degree. So right now, I'm currently interested in a career in public health. So again, if you are finished earlier than 2 minutes, react with a thumbs up. So I know that we can move on. And I'll put on some background music again. Okay, so 2 minutes has passed, and now we've reached the end of our main programming of the workshop. Thank you for attending. We hope this workshop helped you with deciding which major to choose. So we'll spend the remaining time having a Q&A session. The QR code for the feedback survey is on the screen, and the link will be posted into the chat. And once you fill that up, the resource sheet and the link to the slides will be there. Okay, so as you are filling up the survey, we will now begin the Q&A session, and we will address the questions from the Slido. If you see a question that you would like to be addressed, just a reminder, you can upvote them. Your questions are anonymous, and the team on this call are resources too. So yes, we'll start the Q&A session now.
Perfect. So I will be the one kind of going through the Slido questions, and I'll direct them to our group here. So the first question with 3 upvotes is, how should I go about choosing my second year courses if I want to apply to the food science major after second year, but want to have the nutritional science as a backup? And perhaps I will direct this question to Ella first.
Great, thanks, Tiff. Yeah, this is a great question. I think it's a really good example of putting together a plan, because you're thinking about what's my first choice plan and what are other options I could also explore. So you've been setting yourself up for your ideal scenario, but also for backup situations, because food science is a competitive program. So it's not guaranteed that every student who's interested in it will be able to get into that major. So excellent start to the plan. The nice thing about food science and nutritional science is that a lot of the courses in the second year requirements are common between the two programs. So courses like Chem 233, Bio 200 and 201, LFS 250 are actually common amongst all of the different majors within the BSFN program. So you could take your second year courses and focus mainly on the courses that are common amongst food science and nutritional sciences, and take that year to learn more about the programs, develop your experiences, and accessorize your degree so that you have a really strong letter of intent for your application when you apply to the food science major at the end of second year. And then depending what major you get into and where you end up in third year, that's where the programs begin to differ more. And that's where it's more important to be really focused in on one particular major. And at that point, if there's something from the second year requirements that you didn't get a chance to complete during second year because you were still kind of trying to keep both options open, you can go back and catch up on that course that differs later on. So for example, between food science and nutritional science, one requires genetics in second year and one requires microbiology in second year. So that's kind of the major difference between the two. So you could always go back and do microbiology if you hadn't done it previously, and you do get into food science. So once you get to third year, hopefully by that point, you'll have a really clear idea of where you're at. It is still possible to change later on, but it will take a little bit longer to get through your degree if you're making changes at that point.
Perfect. Thank you, Ella. And I think there's another question here that is actually kind of similar to that first one, so we will quickly address it. And it's, I'm in my first year right now, and I want to apply for a double major. So should I apply for F&H General just in case I didn't get into the double major?
Right. Well, the very nice thing is that in F&H, we have competitive majors and we have non-competitive majors. Food science and the double major are both competitive majors that require an application submitted by March 31st. But nutritional sciences and F&H General are non-competitive majors, which means there's no application required. As long as you get to second year standing in the program, you're able to declare those majors when it's time to register for your classes in second year. So if your first choice is the double major and you're thinking about F&H General as your backup option, submit your application by March 31st for the double major. You'll find out in May if you're accepted into the double major. And then when you go to register for classes, if you weren't accepted to the double major, you'll be prompted that you need to select a major before you can register for second year classes, and you can select F&H General then, no application needed.
Perfect. Thank you, Ella. And yeah, if you do have specific questions, Student Services is the place to go. Everyone is very welcoming and very friendly. So highly recommended you book an appointment there as well. I will go on to the next question, and it is, if I apply to co-op in the summer, can the earliest work term be January 2022, so term 2 of next year? I will open up the floor for answers, but maybe Ella, also this is another, or Val, yeah, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I think I can speak on this being a former co-op student. And so actually for co-op, there is only one intake. And so you would be applying in October in your third year. And this is specific to LFS. I know in other faculties, they may accept applications as early as second year, but for our faculty, it is third year. And the 2021 deadline is coming up in October, as October 7th of 2021. And I'll send a link into the chat if you want to learn more. And so typically you apply in October, and I believe by January you'll know if you've gotten into the program, and you'll begin some orientation and training on how to build your portfolios or your resumes. And your earliest work term would be the summer, the upcoming summer. So that would be summer of 2022. And yeah, I'll open up the floor if anyone wants to add to that. And yeah, definitely open to speaking more about my co-op experience if anyone else has any questions.
Yeah, thank you, Val. I just noticed Cloris and Val both popped in some links for co-op info, so it'll be great to check those out. Perfect. So I guess we'll move on to the next question. So what major or program is the best to choose for someone who wants a flexible, well-rounded education that explores a variety of LFS topics instead of one? I think this is a question for all us students to answer. I think I can go first. I would highly suggest the Applied Animal Biology program if you're looking for flexibility, because all of your third and fourth year are electives. So restricted electives and unrestricted electives. So you can take a lot of different classes in other faculties, and within the restricted electives itself, it's very diverse. So I would recommend you to go over those. They're very well organized by social, economic, the core sciences, even like kinesiology options. So I highly recommend AppBuy if you are interested for flexibility. I think F&H General also allows for quite some flexibility. So I will let Cloris, Rosemary, or Valerie touch on that because they've all been in the program.
Yeah, adding on to what Tiff said, so since I'm only F&H General, if you really want to have that great flexibility and want to customize your degree, you can consider about F&H General, as especially in your upper year, you will have many credits for restricted and unrestricted electives. So yeah, it really depends on interest. You can use those credits to choose the classes that really fit your interest or your desired career path.
Yeah, I was just going to add, I would say that Applied Animal Biology and F&H General are both very flexible programs, like Tiffany and Cloris have highlighted. The Global Resource Systems program is also very flexible because it allows you to design the program around your region and resource of specialization and interest. So those are all programs where you can really customize your degree and find lots of opportunities to build breadth across topic areas within LFS and on related areas like food security and sustainability that cross between applied biology and F&H, for example. Those are definitely things that you could do within those programs. Other majors within each of the different degree programs have less flexibility. So for example, if you're looking for flexibility, I would not recommend food science or dietetics. They are both fairly rigid in their requirements. Food resource and economics has less flexibility. There is some flexibility within the program, but only within that area. So the flexibility of econ, commerce, and food resource economics courses, but not as much for courses in other topic areas.
Perfect, thank you. So hopefully that was insightful for those looking for both a flexible or non-flexible program. And I guess the next question would also be for Ella. So what is the difference between dual degree program and double major?
Yeah. So a double major is two main areas of focus of study. So you're fulfilling your focus areas within food science and nutritional sciences, for example, for our double major that we offer within LFS. The general degree requirements and the overall degree that you receive is just one degree. And in contrast to that, in the dual degree program, you're actually going to be completing the requirements for two different degrees. So you'll receive a Bachelor of Science in Food, Nutrition, and Health, and you'll also receive a Bachelor of Education. That means you're doing the courses for those majors, but you're also doing the general degree requirements that are required for both of those degrees. So everyone in BSFN has to do some introductory science courses, a statistics course, a writing course. Those general requirements are there for the BSFN program, but then you also have the general requirements for the education program. So things like psychology, additional English courses, courses in other topic areas within teaching and education. So you're not just completing one degree's requirements, you're completing two degrees requirements with some overlap between the two. In the case of these two programs, both of them are designed to take 5 years to complete.
Perfect, thank you, Ella. That was a great explanation. Okay, I think we have a bunch of questions, so I'm gonna move right along. The next question is, what is a agrologist? I'm not too sure how to pronounce it, but I can answer. Oh, Ella, do you know how to pronounce it?
It's an
Agrologist?
agrologist.
Gotcha. I can answer this question. So basically, agrology is a broad range of multidisciplinary fields that encompass like natural, economic, social sciences, and disciplines that relate to like environmental protection, aquaculture, viniculture, forestry, agriculture, and natural resources. So agrologists are teachers, scientists, inspectors, technicians, consultants, administrators, managers. They're working towards sustainable use of food production and natural resources. So, so the BC Institute of Agrologists is a institution that you can join that will basically give you professional designation. And the difference between kind of before and now for the job force was that before, some of these professional designations were optional. So companies preferred if you had these designations, but you didn't have to. But now a lot of companies are shifting to make these mandatory. So Leslie, our AppBuy coordinator, she's been highly recommending that students take a look at this program before they graduate, because you do need to have certain course completions to reach this designation. And you might as well reach for it if your courses already cover it. This will give you maybe a hands up in when you're applying for jobs and such. I hope that answers your question for what that is. Okay, the next one, yes, Ella, maybe you could answer, is what is and a restricted elective. And I guess you can touch on what the difference is then between a restricted and unrestricted.
Yeah, so a restricted elective is a course that you get to choose from a set of courses that are related to your degree. So rather than it being anything you want in any topic in any area across the university, it's going to be something that's related to your area of study. Restricted elective lists are specific to the major that you're in. So if you're in first year right now, you aren't in a major, but maybe you've been picking restricted electives based on your intended major. And there is some overlap between restricted electives between different majors and programs within LFS. There is a link on the LFS website, and as you progress through your degree and begin planning more of your courses, you'll definitely become very familiar with it. It's probably like one of my top 5 links I visit every day, helping students plan their courses for all the different restricted electives within your program. If there's a course that you're interested in taking that you think is related to your area of study but isn't on the list, maybe it's a new course, or maybe you're going on exchange and you're taking a course that's related while you're on exchange, you can talk to your program advisor, and their contact information is on the restricted electives page. And if they approve, yes, this is valid and related to your degree, then you can have it counted as a restricted elective. An unrestricted elective is basically anything else. So anything that's not a restricted elective. So if you're majoring in F&H and you want to take a course in film studies, probably hard to justify how that would be related to your area of study. But if you want to take it, you can still take it. And that would count as an unrestricted elective. There are a certain number of unrestricted elective credits you have within your degree so that you have the room and the opportunity to take other courses that you're interested in that aren't necessarily related to your major. Of course, if you know exactly what you're interested in and you want to take more restricted electives, you're allowed to take extra restricted electives to fulfill your unrestricted electives. So if you were looking at the Venn diagram, restricted electives is an inside circle, and then unrestricted electives is a bigger circle of all the different courses outside of it. Any course that's a restricted elective could also be an unrestricted elective.
Perfect, thank you, Ella. I know back in first year, I was totally confused about the differences between the two. And yeah, I would highly recommend that restricted electives website that Valerie just popped in. And in your own time, just go through them and see. It will give you a good idea what your upper year courses would look like for that major. Perfect. So I think next question is for Valerie. So what do typical dietetics courses look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so just to let you know, a lot of the third year dietetic courses overlap very much with the year 3 F&H major courses. So those are ones like F&H 350, 351, 370, 371, 398, and LFS 350. So if you're planning to go into dietetics, and you're still just doing your general major, just know that a lot of these essentially come up again in the academic calendar. So for example, me being a later, having a later entry into the program, it just means I get to have a lighter course load later on because I've taken a lot of those already. Some of the ones that are different would be F&H 380 and 381, as they are restricted for dietetic students and they pertain specifically to the dietetics practice. So you learn more about the field and you have registered dietitians coming in as guest speakers. And so just to give you a typical overview of what I've been taking this year, I've taken Biochem 302, F&H 415, which is a business course, F&H 371, which is nutrition across the lifespan. And right now my favorites are F&H 340 and 341, which is the food theory class, as well as the application class, which is essentially a food lab where we go in to cook some recipes. Yeah, hope that gives you a bit more understanding into what a dietetic student takes.
Awesome, thank you, Val. And I guess I'll also direct another question to you. So it's, how do we get research opportunities?
Yeah, another great question. And I really do believe that research is a great way to get into this field. So I think during the workshop, Rosemary mentioned about the human nutrition group that is featured on our website. And so those are some of the current faculty and the professors and the labs that they have on specific topics. You know, we have vitamin B12 being a really popular topic of study within LFS. WorkLearn also has a bunch of research assistant positions, which are great entry-level opportunities for us as undergrads, as a lot of the labs that you might want to get into later on, those are managed or led by PhD and graduate students. How I got into research was through the science co-op program, and this was my the one position that I've done while being in co-op is to work in lung disease research with a private research management company, but I was actually based out of St. Paul's Hospital here in downtown Vancouver. And so I came in with zero research experience, and I just want to preface that because I know it can seem really daunting, but it is really through your volunteering experiences, student leadership experiences that a lot of these companies will recognize and would love to have you come on board with them. So right now, you know, I've transitioned from lung research to COVID studies. So it's been a really exciting time. I've gotten to work with large data sets, interact with doctors who are investigators, and just getting to know the operations of the whole healthcare team. So I highly recommend it for those who are interested in research.
Thank you. Wow, that was very informative. And okay, I will just keep moving on because there's still quite a bit of questions. So the next question is there any applied animal biology co-op this summer? So I think the first thing is to address, like what Val said before, co-op has one intake and the application, I believe, is in October. So there might be co-op positions that apply to applied animal biology this summer. However, you would have to be in co-op to access those resources. So consider that application date first, and you can always reach out to co-op for those specific questions. Perfect. So moving along, is there application for FNH? So I am assuming this is general FNH, and no, this is a non-competitive major. So when you're going to choose your major, you can just select it on SSC, I believe. Ella, is that correct, the process?
That's right. So when you go in to register for second year, it'll ask you to pick a major before you register for classes, and it'll have FNH or Nutritional Sciences listed there.
Perfect. Okay. Next question, I guess, is more for all of us students. So what courses are recommended to take during summer? So ones that you won't miss much from the normal class or won't be too rushed. Valerie, Rosemary, or Cloris, do you have any recommendations from courses that you've taken past summers?
For me, I've actually taken summer courses in first and second year. And just to note about the won't miss much from normal class or no rush, actually summer classes do cover all of what is taught in a regular session. Although think the times for the classes are a bit longer because it's just condensed down to 2 months. And in first year, I did take, it was Bio 121. And then in second year, I took FNH 250. And that was a distance learning class. So actually distance learning classes are for the whole 4 months. So it's a bit slower. And I actually liked taking FNH through a distance learning class because I felt that I was able to learn more of the material and my own how it was for the 4 months. And on top of that, I also took another class, which was Bio 234 in the first term and Forestry 231, which is a statistics class. And for me, I actually really enjoyed that class. So the two classes that I recommend are FNH 250 and Forestry 231.
Perfect. Thank you, Rosemary. Yeah, I think I also took Forestry 231 with Rosemary. I highly recommend that in the summer. I did attempt it during the school year, but everything got kind of overwhelming, so it was more manageable for me to do it in the summer. Another one that I would actually recommend is Chem 233. I know this is a big course that scares a lot of students, and taking it during the year with maybe 4 or 3 more courses might be a lot. So it's actually done pretty well in the summer. I would recommend it if you're just taking that one course if you don't have much. So it's I wouldn't say easy course to get through in the summer. It's more manageable because you have more time in the summer. Perfect. Um, let's see.
I'll just add one point for my advice for summer classes. If it's your first time taking summer classes, I recommend taking just one class at a time because they move really fast. So if you start to fall behind in the class, it can get really difficult to get caught back up. So one class at a time is great because then you can really put all your attention into that one class. And like Tiffany said, if it's a class that's maybe a little more challenging, you can put all your attention. You don't have to worry about balancing it out with anything else. Keep that in mind. And then if you do a summer class this year and you find it totally manageable, you have tons of time, maybe next summer you could try 2 classes at once, but I wouldn't start with that.
Thank you, Ella. Yeah, I totally agree. Okay, perfect. Moving on to the second last question. So when can we start applying for courses for next year? I'll direct that to you, Ella.
Yeah, summer course registration is going to be happening the last week of March. So if you're thinking about taking courses this summer, you're going to get an email next week with your registration date and time. Courses for next winter session, so September or January next year, registration is going to happen at the end of June and throughout July. And I'm popping a link in the chat here that'll have the date ranges. You'll know your exact date about a week or 2 weeks in advance of when your registration opens, but you can see when it's going to happen for depending on your year level. So anywhere from June 29th through till end of July, depending on your year standing. So you'll get the exact date and time about a week or 2 in advance of that. And the course schedule will be available in May. I know normally it's available around this time of year, but as we figure out what a return to in-person classes will look like, we're still putting the plan together and should have it published in May.
Perfect. Thank you, Ella. Okay, one last question. So do 3rd and 4th year unrestricted electives have to be 3rd and 4th year courses? And this is a question that I was super confused with when I was actually deciding my 3rd year courses. So I'll get Ella to clarify that for us.
So your restricted electives do not have to correspond with the year level that they're listed in the academic calendar. So if it says you have an unrestricted elective for first year, it's okay if you wait until second year to take it. Or if you take a second year level course, you can still count it towards your unrestricted electives in 3rd or 4th year. The one thing you'll want to be careful about is that all of our degrees have an upper level credit requirement of at least 45 credits of upper level courses, so 300 or 400 courses. So if you choose to take some electives that are lower level courses, just make sure that overall total within your degree, you're still going to have enough upper level courses. The more flexible your degree is, the trickier this is to plan. So if you have a really set degree, it's probably already covered within your degree requirements. If you're in a more flexible program like Tiffany is, then this is something that you really want to plan out when you're planning your restricted and unrestricted electives. And I see the last question, so maybe I'll just hop right on this. Are we really coming back for next year to campus? I wish I knew. Here's what I do know. The province has asked all universities to plan for a return to campus. So we are planning for a return to campus. What a return to campus looks like and whether the plan follows through is to be determined. So we're going to have to look to see how things progress in terms of vaccinations, safety restrictions, and health and safety plans to determine whether a return to campus means, yes, everything's back to normal. We'll have 300 people sitting in a room together and taking the bus to campus together and living in residence together and coming to see us in person in the academic advising office in Macmillan. I'm going to say that's probably not what return to campus this September is going to look like. It's probably going to be somewhat gradual. And what it'll mean, at least my best guess, is that there will be some more in-person classes. So right now there's a very limited number of limited capacity lab courses mainly that are happening in person. So probably more of those smaller classes, or maybe the tutorial or discussion sessions for your bigger classes may be returning to in-person. That's a lot based on the limitations of classroom sizes. If we have to have social distancing requirements in place, we can't put 20 people in a 20-person classroom. You're going to be in a 50 or 60-person classroom instead. And there's only so many 50, 60, 100, 200-person classrooms on campus. And there are no 1,000 or 2,000-person classrooms that we could put a 300-person class in. So most likely, a lot of those really large classes that are common to lots of LFS programs and science programs as well will continue to be offered online, but perhaps some components of them will be in person. Exactly what this all looks like depends how things progress. If we stay on track with vaccinations, the restrictions that are in place for students from outside the country to travel back to campus. So we're working on a plan. I would like to know more too, because I want to know if I have to start wearing real pants every day or if I can keep wearing pajamas on my bottom half. But we plan to have more information available in May when the course schedule is going to be published. And that plan will also have some contingencies in it in case things change over the course of the summer or throughout the term.
Fingers crossed that we're back together. Okay, I think that's all of our questions. So we'll leave the space for any last comments. You can feel free to open your mic or type in the chat, but otherwise you are free to go. And thank you for attending our session today. Yeah, of course. Thank you for coming.
Say thank you to all of you. Thank you so much. Really helps. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.